Pleasant morning to members of the media, and welcome to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service weekly media briefing for Tuesday, 27 February 2020. I'm Superintendent Mystar, Public Information Officer of the TTPS, and I'm joined by Commissioner of Police, Mr. Gary Griffith, and Deputy Commissioner of Police, Mr. Jayson Forde. And we are here today to dialogue on the post-mortem for Carnival 2020. So to give us some initial information, I'd like to invite the Gold Commander for Carnival 2020, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Mr. Jayson Forde. Sir?
Yeah, thank you very much, Superintendent Mystar, Commissioner. Trinidad and Tobago, the rest of the wider Caribbean, and the rest of the world who is watching, just as when I addressed you prior to the beginning of the Carnival period, I want to say good morning to all of you. I want to say thanks to all of you for the support that you have given in assisting in making this Carnival one of the safest ever. And you may ask why I would say so. I want to share some brief stats with you before we go further into why it was the safest. Picture that in 2018, when you look at violent or serious crimes, which seems to always be accompanying our carnivals, we had 21 violent crimes in 2018. And we're talking about violent crimes, what we call personal crimes, like robberies, murders, rapes. 2019, we had 10 violent crimes. Come 2020, we had 2 violent crimes, which were 2 woundings. What accounted for that? I have a saying that says proper planning beats positive thinking any day. We planned and planned and planned and collaborated with all our stakeholders, Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force, the Prison Service, the SSA, and other external stakeholders to make this 2020 Carnival the safest. Having said that, I want to thank the fellow DCPs, our Commissioner of Police, for his sterling leadership, the Assistant Commissioners of Police of all the regions, the Senior Superintendents, all the men and women of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service that participated in making this Carnival safe. I want to say a heartfelt thanks to you all. Being the Gold Commander means that, okay, I'm trusted with that responsibility. But a leader, whilst he may set the tone, is only good as the pact that he or she leads. Had it not been for the efforts of the officers of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and our supporting stakeholders, this Carnival would not have been safe as it was. We can talk about the levels of safety that we had. We had police officers along every parade route. We had drone supporting, we had ERP support, we have the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force support. All those supporting agencies could not have made this Carnival as safe as it was if our officers did not turn up for duty. To those officers that came and went beyond the call of duty, because Carnival duty is a grueling endeavor. No one comes out of the Carnival duty as a police or law enforcement officer without being unscathed. To all those officers that came out and gave your best, I want to say thanks to you all for being part of an epic event. 2020 Carnival may go down in the history of Trinidad and Tobago as being the safest ever, with just two violent offenses being committed. To those of you that did not come out for whatever reason, you missed being a part of history. You will not be able to say to your grandchildren, I was a part of history in Trinidad and Tobago. Because when the records are looked at, those that were part of the safest Carnival ever will be counted. Thanks to each and every one of you. I could not have sat here this morning proudly, full of emotions, and I'm holding back a tear or two. and not speak this way if you all did not step to the plate and really give that support. My belief in Trinidad and Tobago has been shored up, has been built up further. Because in addition to the police being present and making the streets safer, you know what? Even the criminal element cooperated with us. Our arrests have been done this year. Yes, we pre-planned, we educated, and we told them, stay at home, leave your weapons at home, come and have clean fun, which they did. But it filled my heart to see the throngs of people walking on our streets, and they expressed that they felt so safe to be in Trinidad, and who planning to bring larger numbers next year to our carnival. Whilst driving along the streets as Gold Commander, I went out onto the roadways, because as the commissioner always says, as a leader, you lead from in front. I went out on the roadways, and I felt so proud to be a police officer in Trinidad and Tobago. I saw females in the skimpiest of clothing, walking in some darkened areas, and they had no concern of being attacked. That telegraphed that they felt a level of safety that might have been unprecedented. It said to me that as a country, if we want a particular result or goal, we can have it. And I think that together, our country wanted a safer carnival. Our camps were safe, our camps were not attacked. Beach bathers at the different beaches, they were not attacked. Somehow this carnival, because of the planning, the cooperation, the collaboration, because of the goodness that exists in the hearts of Trinidad and Tobago, we were able to secure our countrymen, our countrywomen. I look forward to 2021, 22, and 23 being bigger than 20 and being safer. So in closing, I want to say thanks to all our law enforcement officers, our stakeholders and partners who assisted us, our officers who came out and went beyond the call of duty. But most importantly, to you, Trinidad and Tobago, population, the masqueraders, the spectators, the motoring public, the pedestrians. Thanks to you all for being on your best behavior, 2020. So.
Thank you very much, Mr. Forde. And now I hand you over to the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Gary Griffith. So.
Okay, members of the media, good morning. You still have a little tear there. Thank you very much. I wouldn't want to repeat much of what DCP Forde just stated, but to re-emphasize, it was not easy. Many times we will see things that will be good and we'll take it for granted that it is supposed to come overnight. It took several months of preparation, planning, strategizing, analyzing a situation, looking at the risks, and ascertaining exactly where it is we will utilize our resources in an effective and efficient manner. By all reports received, based on the reports of serious incidents or even lack of, as stated by DCP Forde, as well as the unanimous views throughout the country, bar one report in the Newsday and Rhoda Barrett, it seemed that everyone in the country actually saw the positives of what happened, and they saw that Trinidad and Tobago was a success as it pertains to safety and security for Carnival. To make such a comment, it did not come easily, or by just keeping our fingers crossed. As I stated, it took months of preparation. One simply has to look at carnivals you will see in other parts of the world. Notting Hill Carnival in United Kingdom, Carnival in Brooklyn on the Parkway, where there will be restrictions on consumption of alcohol. It's one day of Carnival, which will mean that all the police resources can be utilized on one occasion, and also with Carnival stopping at 6 p.m. None of these things we were fortunate to encounter. When you have virtually 3 days of Carnival, because you start from Sunday night, it means that you have almost 60 hours of resources that we had to split up police officers, and they cannot work 60 hours. So that would diminish our resources. Then you have the situation with night carnival. Then you have the situation with anyone drinking wherever they wanted, wherever they wanted. All of these things, and still, it was safer than most, if not all, carnivals in these of this magnitude worldwide. And it was, again, I wish to take this opportunity to thank each and every officer of this very noble institution, that being the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, for their dedication to duty. For yet another year, it was again a successful turnout. It was over 95%, and it would increase. And again, it is unfortunate that a newspaper would try to speak to certain police officers to get negative comments, to state that certain police officers said that officers did not come out because they did not like the itinerary and the schedule. I think it's really unfortunate when we try to find the glass half empty. This is a situation with Trinidad Carnival, and we have a situation that the whole country has seen Carnival being a success. But then one person, I won't call Shane Superville's name, would find an article to say despite murders, accidents outside of the festival, cops say no major crime. Well done, Shane Superville. That has done a lot to enhance the image of Trinidad and Tobago. That has done a lot to enhance the success and the public perception of Carnival. But the important thing is it sold newspapers, because that is what sells. What sells is negativity. Everything that can be bad, destroying, that will sell. So Newsday has sold extra newspapers today. Congratulations. At the expense of the hard work and dedication of the police service, at the expense of the vast majority, 99.99% were very comfortable with everything that was seen, because the perception and fear of crime was diminished. Mr. Forde explained that whatever took place during Carnival was not there. So what Shane Superville had to do was to dig hard, dig deep, to find out that 2 mangoes were stolen in a man's yard, to go to a police station to decide to say this is what is going to sell more. By saying it was a successful carnival, an incident-free carnival, a crime-free carnival, that's not going to sell the Newsday papers. So let us try to go to all angles of the corner of the country to see if we could find something of negativity. And that is going to help build the image of Trinidad and Tobago. I am not here to try to hide facts, but the fact of the matter is that when you have a situation, and we look at the numbers with Juve celebrations, Port of Spain and Western Divisions, over 70 to 80,000, Northern Division, 12,000. These are persons who participated for Juve. Tobago, 9,000, Central, over 9,000, Southern, 7,000, Eastern, 4,000. And then we go into the Parade of the Bands in Port of Spain, 150,000 plus persons, and a number. So you're speaking about several 100,000 persons, all in one area, alcohol throughout the night, and you had 2 situations that took place, but yet a newspaper will try to find a situation to say that, well, the police said that certain officers didn't show up for work, even though there was a 95% turnout. That is where it is. Sometimes in the country, we need to try to put a little bit of facts, patriotism, and try to just give the public what actually happens, rather than try to find the glass half empty. As I stated, I wish to salute each and every officer that made the TTPS and our nation proud. I wish to also thank the citizens for their maturity, their responsibility, and at times their patience in understanding the security restrictions that they had to encounter that took place throughout the carnival period. You would have seen the traffic plans that took place. It was very successful. When you look at what took place on Ryson Road, along Western Main Road, and along the Queen's Park Savannah, it again showed that we are learning. We will continue to make mistakes, but we will learn from our mistakes and continue to improve all aspects of policing for Carnival and throughout the country. As mentioned, it did not take place by chance. When we reach a situation in Trinidad and Tobago that the biggest incident that can be viewed by the whole country is an elbow wrestling competition between Iowa George and the spouse of a world-class entertainer from Trinidad and Tobago, it shows that we have succeeded, because that became the biggest incident. Technology played a very big part towards our success. We turned the country into pockets, with each one being a safe city model. So by doing that, we had the use of high-tech drones, where it was able to turn night into day. It was thousands of feet above sea level. It was locking onto license plates of vehicles. We were able to see everything that was taking place in real time, being fed back to an operational command center. We had GPS tracking of all of the bands, so we were able to monitor with the movement of the bands to know how we can utilize the resources of the police service. We had GPS of the police vehicles. For the first time, we had GPS tracking of police officers. So if officers converge too much in one area, from the operational command center we were able to pinpoint, target where the officers were, to have them spread along an area, which is why you would have seen for the first time, almost every single corner, there were 2 police officers. And then after we had venue operation centers throughout all of the divisions. We were also very tactical this year. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, I wish to take this opportunity to thank the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force. We welcomed that massive support. We welcomed the return and the support that we acquired from the use of the choppers from the Air Guard. And more importantly, what you would have seen this year, we went full force. We went out with heavy visible presence of the tactical units, not just the task force, but the GEB, the MOPS, and the Special Operation Response Team. It was very strategic. It was very successful. This ensured a high visibility, a powerful deterrent, and a sense of comfort to law-abiding citizens. And it was also a deliberate show of intimidation to any gang member, any possible terrorist, or any punk who actually thought that they can use this situation to be involved in criminal activities. I think anyone who has a concern with that either has to be a criminal, a sympathizer of criminal, or just downright ignorant and not understanding law enforcement. So when people who are communication experts in LLCB and they now want to become security experts, they need to understand how this is done worldwide. We would have seen what took place in Germany, where based on a terrorist attack during the same day as our carnival, a car plowed into persons and many persons were injured and killed. And that is what we try to prevent, because in a situation like this, large-scale terrorism is something that is global. Trinidad and Tobago, we are part of the globe, and we had to put certain situations in place. And again, with naysayers, whereas 1.3 million law-abiding citizens understood the importance of having that high visibility of tactical units, someone actually saw that this was a problem. She actually tried to compare it to the special branch. So I would like to take this opportunity to educate individuals who do not understand the difference in operational systems between special branch and a tactical unit such as SWORD, GB, or MOPS. Is that special branch is a covert unit. They are there to they will wear plain clothes, they will have sidearms, because they're involved in a different type of policing, strategically just as important, dealing with VIP protection and other arms of national security. Elements such as SWORD, MOPS, GB, they are covert tactical units, highly trained, and at times need to be highly visible to provide a deterrent. Someone had the audacity to say, well, why did SWORD get involved in intercepting and preventing 2 gangs from fighting? Members of the media, the Trinidad and Tobago, and they said that GB should have done it instead. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, we do not have the Starship Enterprise, where persons could be moved from one area and just have them sent straight to another area. If the GB, they are conducting operations in Arapita Avenue, and MOPS conducting operations on Tragridge Road, and SWAT is in St. James, and an incident takes place by Roxy Roundabout, a firefight lasts less than 2 minutes. So for that person, I wouldn't call Rhoda Barrett's name, but somebody who has that type of totally clueless to understand law enforcement, but just trying to find anything negative under the sun, because that's what makes people popular, especially on social media. Find something negative to try to see if you could get your followers to say yes. And if you change your mind, they will say they will agree with you. The fact of the matter is that had SWAT not been where they were, there could have been bloodshed. Because of the immediate effectiveness of the Special Operation Response Team, they were able to get to that location in less than 17 seconds. And by doing that, they scattered the elements, they scattered. They rushed, they ran straight into a task force unit. And again, that is where we speak about high visibility. That shows the importance of having such units. And again, everywhere we went throughout the country, the persons, all law-abiding citizens, masqueraders, patrons, foreigners, they were totally pleased by the high visibility. But persons, they have a problem when there's high visibility of law enforcement officials carrying firearms. But they never make a comment when criminals carry firearms. That is very important. That's very interesting. I wish also to make note of the issue with the two-way traffic around the Queen's Park Savannah. It worked. It started from 6 a.m. on Saturday, going through until Tuesday night. Thankfully, it was beneficial. And again, I also wish to take this opportunity. Persons may get the perception that all of the work and we put all our eggs in the basket of securing Port of Spain. Totally untrue. You would have heard the comments made by the mayor of Chaguanas. You would have many persons who went to Tunapuna, Juve, 15,000 plus persons attended, Cedras, Point Fortin, Arima, San Fernando, throughout the country. Every single event for Juve or for Carnival, it was treated as an operation. Every single Carnival fete prior to Carnival was treated as an operation. So this was not just a success from Monday and Tuesday. Every Carnival event, every fete, every event where there were thousands of persons, alcohol being consumed, not one major incident took place. Yet somebody will have decided to put an article to say, despite murders and accidents outside of the festival, cops say it was crime-free. Before I close, I'll just to take questions. What we always have to do is to always try to do a debrief to see what can be done to make it even better in the future. Just some points to note. One of the biggest concerns that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service we encountered were not the hardened gang members. There was just that one incident where two gangs decided to, as I stated by Roxy Roundabout, they decided to size up each other and then they scattered like cowards that they are when SWAT turned up. But what the biggest concern that we had were it involved 13-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 13 to 15-year-olds assembling, wearing the uniform of the white T-shirt and the three-quarter blue pants, assembling and having a coordinated attempt to try to see if they could disrupt Carnival by robbing persons, stealing chains, stealing phones. And, well, the police, we did as much as we could do, and we prevented many. We arrested a few, we recovered the phones, we recovered chains. My point is, where were these parents? Where were these guardians of these young men? At 13 years old, you're letting your child go out at 3 o'clock without any adult supervision. And then at 13, you're doing that stealing chains. At 14, you may start robbing persons and stabbing. At 15, you may start shooting at persons. At 16, when you get killed by the police in a firefight, then the same parent will then bawl that the police too wicked. And this is where the chain of events starts as a minor. At times we say that we have a youth problem. We do not have a youth problem in this country. We have an adult problem with irresponsible adults not adhering to their responsibility as parents or guardians. And by doing that, that is where we have the situation and the problems in our society. I wish also to make a recommendation to the bands. I spoke to the band leaders at length. As much as the police could do all that we can do, as I mentioned in carnivals around the world, carnival stops at 6. We go on until midnight. Okay, fair enough. But if you're a band leader, I pleaded with band leaders, get your band as close as possible to your base by 7 p.m. And there's a reason for that. Because as it gets darker, other questionable elements will try to get into the band. It might cause band members, masqueraders, to leave the band to try to get back to their base or to get to their vehicles, which can cause problems as a security risk. And, for example, at 8 p.m., on Carnival Tuesday, you must still had 13 trucks all along Arapita Avenue. It was a disaster waiting to happen. You're speaking about trucks trying to get through with over 50,000 people in an area less than 2 square miles of road. And that is a disaster that can happen. So and likewise, another large band decided to head to St. James at 7 p.m. And one of the 2 major incidents took place along that roadway. So I asked band members again, it is common sense. You get close to your home base. I will strongly recommend, yes, you want to have Carnival until midnight on Tuesday, but you have your own special events, have it enclosed to make sure you have the security of your masqueraders as priority. I wish also again to mention the situation with Arapita Avenue. It will just take 1 or 2 major incidents that would have turned Carnival upside down, and all the negativity will then come forward. And when we look at I have been bombarded with a number of reports from residents in Arapita Avenue. How much could they possibly take? Because Carnival really starts from 4 p.m. on Friday. The music was blasting throughout for over 96 hours straight into midnight on Tuesday, and persons had to go to work the following day. Apart from that, it is impossible for any law enforcement agency around the world, anywhere in the world. We actually brought in an individual he's the person who's in charge of all security for the Caribbean Premier League cricket. He's now coordinating the upcoming Qatar World Cup, European football, concerts around the world with 100,000+ people. And he said you cannot have what is known as organized chaos. And that is what Arapita Avenue is on a Tuesday night, where you will have 50,000 persons. No one is searched, no one is scanned, no one is sanitized. Anything could happen. It is in total contrast to what we did now at the Queen's Park Savannah, whereby for years incidents will take place at the Queen's Park Savannah because Anyone could walk in with anything. Knives, guns, shootings will take place, robberies. We lock down the Queen's Park Savannah, similar to what you'll see in Times Square on New Year's Eve, to see the ball drop. Anybody that enters, you are searched, you are scanned, and that is why the Queen's Park Savannah, for the last 2 years, there was not one incident. And it is difficult, it's impossible to do that on Arapita Avenue on a Tuesday night where 50,000 plus persons are there. Anyone could have a weapon, a firearm, or even an improvised explosive device, or even, heaven forbid, an ICW, an improvised chemical weapon. And that is where it is very dangerous. We are playing with fire in this country. In this modern time, that is something that we cannot and should not entertain. People will bawl, yes, we want to enjoy Carnival, but you can have Carnival at night in a secure environment, similar to how you have Carnival fetes. But in that cloak of night, a lot of damage could take place. And again, as I spoke about with trucks being there, persons refusing to move, trucks trying to go past, not even a bicycle could go through Arapita Avenue at that time. So it is something that we need to consider. The final thing that I need to also to look at, as much as the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, we went above and beyond the call of duty. I look for perfection. There was a 95% plus turnout of police officers. Each and every police officer who was absent from duty will meet me personally, and they will explain to me why they abandoned their post, and they would be disciplined. Likewise, there was an incident, I made a joke out of it when I continued to state that do not whine on police officers. Many tried. I'm a good-looking guy. Many people try to whine on me, but it is a simple case of you moving away or just slowly shoving the person or just touching the person to let them know, so I'm sorry, you can't. When I see a police officer on a motorbike having 3 women whine on him and damaging the motorbike, and then people will say, well, what was the police officer expected to do? Had it been 3 men, what would he have done? The fact of the matter is that police officer condoned that, and that is indiscipline, and this is not the type of professionalism I expect from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service by any officer. The final has to do with reports that we had, and I actually encountered it as well when I was actually involved in the flow of traffic coming out of Chaguaramas, with police vehicles being used to escort individuals, especially questionable individuals. Those officers will also be disciplined, because no police vehicle must be used to moonlight or to transport your friend or any questionable element. Because when you remove the vehicle from an area, it means that that area is now absent from the type of patrol that is required. As I close, I just want to, there's a main thing, as I spoke about, just like Mr. Superville and Rhoda, NLCB communication expert, Barra, now turned security expert. We love to find negativity in everything. So the big negativity we got now is, okay, Carnival was secure, Carnival was safe, Carnival was a success, and then you'll hear the road march. You know, there's something in social media called the but what about posse. Every time something goes good, they have to say, but what about? So Carnival was a success, Carnival was safe, Carnival was secure. The whole country, bar Rhoda Barrett and Shane Superville, had issues. And then but what about? So but what about Carnival being like this? What about security of this country being like that throughout the year? So I would just like to take this opportunity, because I have a 12-year-old niece, and she could not understand that big hardback people do not understand the difference between securing a major event to securing a country for Carnival. So let me just quickly explain. 1, police officers are not robots. They cannot work 36-hour shifts out of 48 hours every day of the year. That is common sense. So to all these social media security experts who continue to ask, but why we don't have this throughout the year? You cannot have 7,000 officers work 36 hours a day every 48 hours throughout the year. That is what is called common sense. 2, the reason why you see such an enormous turnout is because 2/3 of the police officers are not tactical or operational. So what we do for Carnival Monday and Tuesday is we shut down every single unit in the police service to be operational. So to the security experts who say why we don't do this every single day, okay, so I'll shut down fraud, the witness protection unit, the gender-based violence unit, the homicide, the CID, the FIB, the ACIB, all the administrative units, the anti-kidnapping unit, the child protection unit, all the financial units. It does not work that way. Just similar to New York Carnival and other carnivals, everything is shut down to put a vast majority of all police officers on the ground. Second, what is done for Carnival in specific locations where events are held, it is different to securing a nation. 98% of the homicides that take place do not take place in the locations where the police actually provide the security for Carnival. So as much as you could say, oh, let's do the same thing for Carnival, putting out the 7,000 officers as the same way we did, it is not going to stop a homicide 2 o'clock in the morning in a side street in Maloney or in someone's home. That is not how we deal with security. Most important, in contrast to what people believe, this Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is second to none. We have experts throughout the world. They have come here and they have seen it. Our police officers go abroad and they top courses. Many experts came here and they looked at how we operate and they said that the police service is doing all that we can do. The difference is that when we do our job, we do our policing, we do our investigation, do our intelligence, do our operations, have our arrests and have our charges, when there are 800 odd shooters who have been instrumental in the vast majority of homicides every single year, it means now that when we have arrested 1,437 persons and they become repeat offenders to go back out onto the streets to kill, how are we to be blamed? When it is that 323 persons have been arrested in the last 3 years being in possession of an illegal firearm and they got bail within 24 hours to go back out onto the streets, some of them to continue their trade in killing, how are we to be blamed? So yeah, the police service, we are doing our job. It is time for the criminal justice system to do theirs. Thank you.